Timmy was the kind of boy who woke up smiling. He didn't need cartoons or sugar to set him buzzing. His head seemed wired to greet the day with the same excitement as a birthday morning. At 8 years old, he carried that energy everywhere. A spring in his steps, a laugh bubbling from him like it had been waiting all night together. His house, though, didn't seem to notice. The walls carried the muffled drone of the television downstairs, where his father usually sat with the remote in hand, flipping channels without much interest. His mother would be in constant motion, wiping a counter, checking her phone, folding clothes. They weren't cruel or even unkind. They simply existed in their own orbits, occasionally brushing against Timmy's with a "go play" or "dinner's ready." If he wanted their attention, he'd get it, briefly. But once it was given, it slid right back to where it had been, as if he were a radio station that only tuned in when the signal was strong. Timmy didn't notice, or maybe he did, but he had long since learned to fill the quiet spaces himself, with toys, with imagination, with the company of the one creature who never drifted away, Brutus. Brutus was impossible not to notice. He was huge, the kind of dog that made strangers instinctively step aside when he padded past. His body was wrapped in a thick coat of fur, so white it seemed to glow. No matter where he rolled or what mud he trampled through, his coat never lost that brightness. Timmy had once tried to rub a streak of marker into it during a bored afternoon. The stain vanished overnight, as if the fur itself refused imperfection. Despite his size, Brutus had a face that seemed built to disarm. His eyes were deep but round, his muzzle short enough to give him a perpetual expression of mild curiosity. Cute, almost silly, if you ignored the weight behind his gaze. Around Timmy's parents, Brutus was the perfect dog. Quiet, patient, docile. He ate what he was given, never barked at guests, never chewed furniture. If anything, his calmness reassured them. "A gentle giant," his mother once said, patting his head without looking away from her phone. His father approved of the dog's silence most of all. But with Timmy, Brutus was something else entirely. He followed him from room to room, not with the distracted loyalty of a pet, but with the precision of a shadow. When Timmy laughed, Brutus's ears flicked. When Timmy frowned, Brutus's gaze sharpened. It was as if the dog's entire existence curved toward him. That morning, Timmy raided the kitchen while his parents went about their rituals. His father sat hunched on the couch, remote clicking, his mother already halfway out the door with her purse strap digging into her shoulder. They spared him a "morning, Timmy," and nothing more. On the counter sat a plate of cookies from the night before. He stood on tiptoe, stretching a small hand toward the edge. His fingers brushed the plate, but it wobbled dangerously. He froze. "Take the one on the left." The words weren't spoken. They didn't echo through the room. They simply arrived, soft but clear, in the middle of Timmy's head. He glanced down. Brutus sat beside him, tail thumping against the tile, eyes fixed on the plate. Timmy reached again, this time angling for the leftmost cookie. It came free easily, without shifting the others. He grinned, triumphant, and Brutus blinked slowly in approval. Timmy bit into the cookie and chewed thoughtfully. For him, the voice wasn't surprising. Brutus had always been like that, sometimes helping, sometimes warning, sometimes commenting in short little phrases. Not often, just enough to make Timmy feel like they shared a private game no one else understood. He took another bite, brushed crumbs from his shirt, and whispered to himself, "Thanks, Brutus." Brutus didn't respond. He didn't have to. Later, As Timmy clattered toy cars along the hallway, the raised voices of his parents bled faintly from the kitchen. Normally, he would have noticed. They rarely argued, and when they did, the tension sat thick in the air. But today, the sound slid off him like water over glass. He caught the muffled rhythm of voices, but no words, no sharp edges. His ears felt filled with cotton. His focus sharpened instead on the smooth roll of the toy wheels. Brutus lay stretched out nearby, head on his paws, watching. His ears didn't flick toward the argument, though they should have. Instead, his gaze was locked on Timmy, calm, intent, as though the dog were holding something invisible between them. A barrier that softened the world until only Timmy remained inside. Timmy paused once, distracted by the way Brutus's eyes shifted past him. The dog wasn't looking at the toy, or even at Timmy now. His gaze had tilted toward the far wall, toward the space just beyond it. The kitchen, where his parents' muffled voices lived. The eyes were steady, unblinking, sharp, with an awareness Timmy couldn't parse. Then, as Timmy shifted, Brutus's expression softened. He yawned, rolled to his side, and the tension dissolved. The voices in the kitchen returned faintly, and Timmy wrinkled his nose, wondering why they suddenly sounded louder. He shrugged and went back to his cars. Dinner was the same as it always was, plates clattering, half conversations drifting, the television playing faintly from the other room. His mother asked him about school, but didn't look up from her phone. His father muttered about work, eyes on the screen. Timmy tried, once, to tell them about the game he'd invented that afternoon. Something about racing toy cars down the staircase. His words tripped over each other with enthusiasm, but they landed in silence. His mother nodded absently. His father's grunt was more acknowledgement of sound than of content. Across from him, Brutus sat on the floor, head tilted, eyes locked on Timmy, as if every word mattered. The dog didn't blink, didn't glance away, didn't divide his attention. Timmy smiled despite himself. See? Brutus gets it, he giggled, crumbs spilling from his mouth. His parents didn't answer. Brutus's tail tapped once against the floor. In that moment, Timmy felt it as plain as sunlight. He was more seen by the dog at his feet than by the people who had made him. Bedtime came. His parents had already retreated into their corners of the house. His father to the couch, his mother to her laptop. They called up the stairs, "Good night, Timmy," almost in unison, the words practiced, automatic. Timmy curled beneath his blanket, the dim glow of a nightlight stretching shadows long across the room. Brutus settled beside the bed, a silent sentinel, his pure white coat catching the faint light and reflecting it like snow under a full moon. Timmy yawned, already half asleep, when the voice pressed into his mind again, clearer, heavier than before. "They don't know you like I do." He smiled sleepily. "I know," he whispered back, comforted, his eyes closing. The room fell quiet, but only for Timmy. The faintest shift of air stirred, and the bedroom door, which his parents had left open a crack, eased shut without a hand touching it. The latch clicked softly. Brutus's head turned toward it, eyes half-lidded, watching until the silence sealed. His tail gave one slow beat against the floorboards. Timmy never stirred. Did you like this chapter? More are on the way. If you want to keep up with the story next time it releases, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have the means and the time, consider buying me a coffee.